of sports flowing in their veins. Mackie and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Listen, you guys know what this is all about, right? Right? What's it all about? Spurgey?
Hard work and having fun.
That. This is about winning.
Yes. Inject it.
And with that,
Inject it.
the tone for the 21-22 NHL campaign was set. Like that,
Damn right it was.
That's the first time that I think that there was a hard right turn to say, you guys have no idea what you've been doing.
No, you guys can have fun on your own time. This is about hard work and winning hockey games.
Can I ask just a quick question? Why
Sure, it's your show.
Why would a pro athlete? Yeah, it's like 42% my show. Why would a pro athlete say having fun?
It
Hard
feels
work,
like he
I
was
get.
smiling when he said it. So
Yeah,
I feel like
I backgrounded this one. I am told the whole thing was an organic answer. And like he was trying to come up with, Bill was looking for something, and he didn't.
But it's also
get it.
Spurgeon. Like Spurgeon's doing water cooler commercials for like 7 years, dude. Like he's a boring guy. He's not gonna say like,
Right.
oh, I'm gonna go out there and win a cup. He's like hard work and having fun. And here for Carrie, you're Jared Spurgeon.
But having fun's what you do when you play bantam hockey, maybe. Pee-wee for sure. Mites? Like
I don't know. I think he picked the
National
perfect guy to ask that question.
the National Hockey League is never about pro sports. It's not fun. It's fun
Well,
for fans, not fun for players.
This is all great segue fodder here for who gets it, who doesn't. Every Tuesday here. We're also on the show later today. We're gonna bring back one of our favorites here. We haven't done Fire Extend year to year in a while, and I've got a fun little list for you guys. Fire Extend year to year.
All right.
But
Okay.
if I may do the honors, I want to start with someone who gets it.
Okay.
And it's the USA Hockey Board of Directors for recognizing how great we have it here in Wild territory with the best general manager in the NHL, Bill Guerin. The USA Hockey Board of Directors this morning has named Billy Guerin the new general manager of U.S. Hockey. I'm assuming the men's hockey team.
Yes, you're correct.
They see what we all see, which is a championship pedigree mindset. And I know Judd's going to be thrilled that the U.S. men's hockey team will have the same leadership and tutelage now going forward as the Minnesota Wild have had in this record start to the season. I'm pumped for Billy Guerin, and I'm pumped for the future of the U.S. men's hockey team, particularly with the Olympics on the horizon.
First of all, you're trying to get my goat, and I know what you're doing. And it's not very nice. It's only a
I
Tuesday,
think it's awesome.
Okay?
I think
it's great.
the U.S. men's hockey team
you're trying
is
to
ready to
representing our
take
country.
over they're ready to take over the
USA.
world as the
Well,
great
USA.
powerhouse once again. Screw Russia, screw Canada, Finland, Sweden, Switzerland, all these other
you.
multi-syllable countries that start with an S.
Yeah. So Bill Guerin's going to have this job, and it's great because long term I hope he builds this team into a complete power. Short term, I hope he doesn't lift a finger because we'll be seeing Wild hockey in February because we are getting closer and closer to nobody going to the Olympic Games when it comes to National Hockey League players.
You know what he should do?
I'm glad.
He should look at the standings. Okay, who are the teams? Okay, who are like the 4 or 5 teams that you may run into, crash course, find their best American players, and bag skate the hell out of them in the 3 weeks leading up to the Olympics.
And then not go. And then be like, oh, sorry, guys, we're not going.
Too many injuries.
And guys like, but my groin, I'm in so much pain. So, I don't know what to tell you, but you play on Tuesday night for the Ducks. I love it.
So to what extent, in all seriousness, to what extent is this a nod to Billy being like legitimately one of the best GM hockey minds in the country right now?
It's a pretty big nod. I believe he was so Stan Bowman, who was the GM of the Blackhawks until the Blackhawks scandal came to light and Bowman was fired or stepped down. He was the GM, and I believe Billy was an assistant to Stan for the coming Olympics. But yeah, no, it's a nice nod. It's great. It speaks volumes, I think, to the fact that this guy, and it's not hard to tell, Bill Guerin is a winner. Like, he gets how to win. He's good at what he does too. But I think a very important starting point is, do you understand what it takes to build a team and how to win? And I think he does. So yes, I would, as much as I don't want the National Hockey League to play in the upcoming games, I think this is a very nice nod. It's a very nice nod, and it's deserved for a guy who in a relatively short time here has done a magnificent job. Like, he's done a great job here.
Billy Guerin has been a part of, so he won the Cup. He won with Jacques, the Devils in the 90s, right? He played for that Jacques Lemaire team.
Yes.
And then
Pittsburgh.
He won as a player in Pittsburgh and then as an assistant GM twice. So he's been a part of four. Stanley Cup winning teams in the last 25 years.
4 rings, and if I'm not mistaken, he was part of the 1996 World Cup of Hockey U.S. team that won the gold, and that tournament was fantastic. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, he gets it. I love it.
Absolutely.
Wait, get the flag. Get the flag.
With the flag, Judd.
Billy Guerin. That's right. USA Hockey Gold. Minnesota Wild Cup. Let's
friend
get
of the show. Friend of the show.
That's right.
Big time friend of the show.
Mackie and Judd, download champions. Clicky, clicky. You guys are just here for the clicks. You damn right we're just here for the clicks.
All you guys want to do is be negative. Not when you're winning, we don't.
No.
You win.
You guys get to dictate. Yeah.
You win, we beam. We beam with pride.
When you've been under 500 for 700 plus days, like the Vikings, we're going to be hard on you.
Yeah.
But when you are headed toward a Stanley Cup championship, like the Minnesota Wild, we will ride that bandwagon.
You can't say that without the flag waving.
Amazing.
So who gets it? The U.S. Hockey Board of Directors.
Congratulations.
All right, I'll go with who gets it. And I'll say our friends at ESPN for making the case for the Minnesota Wild as a top Stanley Cup contender. Article dropped this morning from Kristen Shilton, ESPN NHL reporter up in Toronto, and has a great piece detailing why the Wild have basically become Cup contenders. She has a great excerpt here, basically talking a lot about what we have been talking about over the last 6 months, which is the process for this team becoming Cup contenders started back in July, when GM Bill Guerin bought out the final 4 seasons of Ryan Suter and Zach Parise's contracts. But it was the Stanley Cup consideration that really pushed Guerin to move on. Minnesota had made the playoffs in 8 of the last 9 seasons, but hadn't advanced past the first round since 2015, and time had to change. And a lot of the things that she highlights were a lot of those ingredients that we talked about yesterday on Mackie and Judd. Joel Eriksson-Ek being a top-line center or a top-line forward and center that can shut down opposing teams. Ryan Hartman coming out of left field and being a resurging player. Cam Talbot, who over the last month has basically been one of the best goaltenders in the NHL. Their dominant defense. Do they have the number 1 star defenseman? Maybe not, but they have a group of defenders that can shut down opposing characters. And then also the depth of their character, the room, the culture, the locker room that they have built in there has been so important. So it's good to hear the Wild are not just getting local love from us, who have always praised the Wild, right? Judd and I have always been super high on the Wild. But also the ESPN and the Talking Heads of the world now are also in on the Wild being Cup contenders.
I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I want that.
You don't like it?
I'd rather them just kind of float under the radar.
Yeah, you want to just, it's just nice to be here. I don't.
Premature.
I'm not saying
it's
I'm just saying like I don't want everyone outside of Minnesota to like expect them to do big things. I want them to be this underdog team that they were 2 months ago.
This is all.
Here we are. They're so good that it's hard to ignore.
I want expectations. I'm cool with this. I love this.
This is a very important tutorial as well in this. How long did people who watched this team, not just us, say, something's off here? Like, you need to change things here. And the diehards were like, oh, I don't know about that. I mean, they know what they're doing. They're pros, right? Bill Guerin's basically come in and done a fantastic job of doing a lot of things that a lot of people who didn't work for the team called for. It's why I go back to the Vikings, for instance. I don't know about change. If you change this, I mean, yes, they might get really bad, but guess what else? They might get really good. But like, would you prefer to rewind right now and have a team that's in like 3rd place and is competitive and good, but not like this? Or do you like this? Because to get to where this team is, it took drastic changes. And by the way, the most important thing is the Parise-Suter experiment or signings were an all-in move that we all liked. But like you see, hey, it's unfolding. It doesn't look like it's unfolding like we wanted it to.
Yeah.
I think it's time to pivot. Like, is this not a lesson in that don't be afraid at times to pivot off of what you thought might work? It doesn't make you a bad sports fan because it didn't work. They tried. The Vikings tried.
I think the main lesson here is that we have just fallen into a rut of we're either comfortable with or we celebrate good. Right? Yes. We talk about making the playoffs as a milestone or as an accomplishment. When all of these leagues, I mean, like look at baseball now too. There's an extra wild card team, and they're probably going to expand playoffs even more. And football, they just moved it to 7 play. Like half the league gets into the play. In the NHL and Major League Baseball, more than half the league gets into the playoffs. So, like, just making the playoffs is not some wild accomplishment. Congratulations, you're, like, in the top 50 to 60% of whatever, or top 40% of teams. Like, it's – but we've I think we've just grown so used to it over the last 30-plus years because there hasn't been championship-level success. And Parisi and Suter, much like Cousins and Zimmer on the Viking side, are good enough to make you playoff relevant once in a while, or in the case of Parisi Suter, like 5 or 6 years in a row, but not good enough to take you to a championship.
Right.
And then it's kind of up to the franchise and the fans and the stakeholders. Okay, how satisfied are you with that? Are you good? Just kind of sneaking in and seeing what happens every year? And I think a lot of people have just become fine with that. You can enjoy sports that way, and that's fine. But I think a lot of people are also hungry for a championship in their lifetime. And I'm glad that Billy Guerin came in with high expectations.
Can you really, though? Like, I don't enjoy sports like that now.
Well, you don't. Some fans do.
I used to more so.
A lot of fans do. You've seen Twitter and Vikings fans.
Sure, but I mean, as the clock
Stop attacking my mediocrity. I'm fine with this. I just don't want to be the Jets.
As the clock starts to tick down on a game I like to call life, I don't know that, hey, I made the playoffs, got knocked out in the first round by the Jets, but wasn't that fun? It's not fun.
That sounds like a good thing to engrave on Judd's gravestone right there.
Yeah.
The clock hit 0 on this game I called life. That's what my gravestone should say.
All right, over to Judd here. Who gets it? Who doesn't?
All right, so Phil, who gets it? Declan, who gets it? Judd, who doesn't get it? And I'm going to stick with Declan's folks at the Worldwide Empire out of Bristol, Connecticut, ESPN, and tell you right now I've got some disappointing news because ESPN, and more importantly, a certain first quarterback, first family of quarterbacks doesn't get it. No ManningCast next Monday night. We are not going to have another. They're going to take the holidays off. We are not going to have another ManningCast until the Week 17 Steelers-Browns matchup. We didn't have one last night, and unfortunately, I was really hoping that for Kirk v. the Bears that we would get one.
You wanted, admit it, you wanted the Mannings, and particularly Peyton, to shred Kirk Cousins.
I wanted him to talk
on national TV.
You know what I wanted?
In front of 1.6 million viewers.
I wanted the Mannings to talk about the Vikings as a whole. I feel like when they get started, they don't hold back a ton. It's a great show. I love it.
You wanted Peyton Manning to call Kirk Cousins a coward.
Well, if that's how he feels, yes. I encourage Peyton to call people what he wants them to. It's great. But they don't get it because I'm disappointed.
What do you think, if there was a ManningCast, what do you think the biggest observation or even criticism about Kirk Cousins would be? Because they go in depth. I mean, they break these guys down.
Oh, that's a good question.
You know, I think Peyton would wonder why Kirk at age 33 isn't doing more at the line of scrimmage. Because Peyton was the king of, like, not only was Peyton making change at the line of scrimmage, Peyton had this elaborate system of dummy checks. Like, he was playing like next level chess. Like, he would go up there and say, okay, it's not enough just to go up to the line of scrimmage and run a play, or to go up to the line of scrimmage and, make a check of some kind. I need to be up there gesticulating and making dummy calls that don't mean anything just to throw the defense off so that we can get an extra edge when the ball is snapped.
So I think that if the brothers were to actually break down the Vikings offensively, I don't know that they would go after Kirk a ton, but I do think that and this was true, I felt very much so in the Cardinals-Rams game. if you watched those offenses operate, and by the way, the Vikings have really good components, but if you watched what the coaches did there and like the different, and I'm not saying that the players are perfect, but what the coaches were attempting to do, I think they would be very curious about why the Vikings don't do more. Like where are more packages? Where are more ideas? Because when you see McVay basically operating like he does, and then you're like, okay, and now let's go over to our friend Clint Kubiak. It's sort of like Kubiak is playing AAA baseball, and McVay, the big leagues, right? So I think if they were to actually break things down, I don't know how much direct criticism Kirk would get. I do think that the fundamental philosophy of how the Vikings run things might.
Yeah. Yeah, God, it would be great. I'm with you. It would be so much fun to hear the Mannings talk about the Vikings. But
I wanted that. They don't get it. Come on. It's the holidays. You know what? They happen every year. Enjoy them next year.
Speaking of the holidays, no better time to make sure that your business is protected from potential risks, cold weather, all kinds of things that could impact your business. Federated is here to help with over 100 years of experience, expertise, resources, some of the smartest people you're going to find to help partner with your business. If you're a business owner and you are a regular listener of Mackey and Judd or Purple Daily, then what are you waiting for? At least hit them up and have a conversation. See how they can help protect your bottom line, your employees. Federatedinsurance.com. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours. Who doesn't get it? I'm going to stick with football here. HKS Architects.
Oh, they're big time. Oh, you're going after a big W. Okay, Phil Mackey. If you end up dead or something like that, HKS, I love your work. I love your work's been great.
HKS Architects, they've been around since 1939, and yes, if it sounds familiar, that is the company that designed the Vikings' new stadium, U.S. Bank Stadium, to have a roof on it. So, do you guys follow old-time football on Twitter?
I don't. Sounds great, though.
It's a great account.
It's a great – they just all day long, they just tweet like old football highlights and clips, and they'll go and like post threads about games from 40 years ago.
Love it.
And they posted a clip this morning. I retweeted this. You can find it at Phil Mackey on Twitter. It's a clip from a 1969 game at the old Met between the Vikings and 49ers. And it's a game being played, so it's to the day. It's December 14th of 1969, and the game is being played in Arctic blizzard conditions. Every fan had 5 inches of snow on their stocking cap. The grounds crew used a snowblower with flames coming out of it. And during a halftime show, according to this account, a hot air balloon carried an 11-year-old boy out of the stadium by mistake and dumped him in the Minnesota River.
Yes, that's true.
Mississippi River, Minnesota River. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. No, I've
that
seen
sounds
this before.
Terrible.
Yeah,
that is toughness, and it has me thinking about, Mike Zimmer the last 8 years, and even before that. I mean, hell, Leslie Frazier was the head coach, defensive-minded head coach. Didn't really work out that well, but the Vikings have had 10 years of defensive-minded coaches that want to run the ball, play defense, eat clock, and play tough guy football, right? But they play in this posh, luxurious dome. I just feel like the Vikings have an identity crisis that goes back at least a decade. It's like this cognitive dissonance that the best Vikings teams of my lifetime, and I was born in the mid-1980s, are offensive powerhouse teams. Brett Favre, aerial attack, mix in Adrian Peterson. It's the 1998 record-setting offense, and these are indoor, high-speed track meet teams that blow your doors off with offense, right? And they're trying to do it the other way inside this posh, indoor, comfortable 72-degree stadium.
The Wilfs wanted an outdoor stadium. That's what they wanted.
But here's what I'm saying. Either rip that roof off and play tough guy football the way that Mike Zimmer wants to play it, or go back to being a track meet offensive team that blows your doors off, scoring 35 points.
You're going to get door two.
I would personally prefer door two.
Don't worry about it.
I don't want to sit outside at a Vikings game in 0 degree there.
The Arden Hills Stadium, the whole idea was we're going to be like the Packers, outdoors. Outdoor football, man. Defense, smash mouth.
Let's get
run the ball.
Yes.
That poor kid's parents watched their son sail away in the balloon because they didn't secure it.
It went over the over the upper deck and just
yes. It could have been tragic. It could have been disastrous.
So he lived?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They found him. It came down.
I don't think it's like a surprise he lived. Like, that is surprising to me.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and
he didn't.
did
Thank
he
God
panic?
he didn't hit
I would have panicked and just jumped.
That would have
electronic
been
wires.
terrifying.
But yeah, his parents they watched him sail away. Your kid sailing away like that. That'd be terrible.
Every time I drive by that plant in Arden Hills, I am so thankful we did not build a Viking stadium over there. Because I couldn't imagine driving out to Arden Hills to watch an NFL football game.
Oh, but the
Only
people
8
that live
games
near
a
Arden
year.
Hills would be very
It's only
convenient.
8 games a year.
Look,
It wouldn't have been that bad.
Don't discredit postseason and preseason.
Don't go to
I'm glad
preseason
where it's.
games.
I'm
Don't go to
glad
preseason.
it's in downtown.
Although
I'm
for the
glad it's in
Vikings to play
downtown.
home playoff games, they might want to mix in, a couple extra regular season wins from time to time. Just a thought. So HKS Architects, you cowards, for suggesting putting a roof on a stadium of a team that wants to play tough guy, ball control, defensive football.
I love how you're
Shame on you.
I love how you're blaming the architect when the team is the
Shame on
one
them.
that ultimately decided.
The team.
Why are you blaming?
The team said, "Show us some blueprints," and they're like, "Oh,
Well,
you'll
yeah.
love this one.
You could have said, "Show us a blueprint
This
with no
is
damn
as
roof."
soft as Charmin for your team."
We got
personality.
no roof. We're gonna build in Arden Hills. We're gonna be tough. We're gonna make people like Declan.
Okay,
dry.
like if you like the Vikings again, they want to play. And the Mike Zimmer era probably comes to an end here in about a month, but they want to play old school, smash you in the mouth, ball control, keep the games close, like 70s football, right? If you were to just rank the 32 stadiums, or it's not 32 because there's a couple teams sharing, but like the 30 stadiums in the NFL, and you rank them based on how tough the stadiums look, do you really want to play a game like Soldier Field in the
Soldier
wind and
Field.
Lambeau Field?
Lambeau Field,
The most, I would say the most like high-end luxury white-collar stadium.
Yeah.
Well, Jerry World is probably number one. But the Viking Stadium is so just,
SoFi's 2
So
or
play
1,
track meet
and then
football.
The Vikings are top 5. Yeah, but
play track meet football.
Here's what you wanted. You wanted Buffalo. You wanted Buffalo, where the wind.
But look what's happening to Buffalo. Buffalo's trying to play track meet football. They didn't hand the ball off to a running back in the first half of that game against the Bucks, and they got
ridiculous.
smoked.
That's ridiculous.
They came back in the second half, but
That's ridiculous.
Buffalo's trying to win football games by not running the ball in that climate, in that division.
Anyway, nice blame game there, Mackie. Nice. Poor architects.
I'll go with an impromptu who doesn't get it, because I just saw this come across my Twitter timeline. And the Vikings are benefit of this, but I'll say who does not get it. The Philadelphia Eagles. So the Philadelphia Eagles, every single one of their wide receivers this season has combined for 1,400 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. Combined. All their wide receivers for their one output this season so far. Justin Jefferson alone this season. 1,288 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson has nearly done what the entire Philadelphia Eagles have done as a unit this season. Jalen Reagor being the pick that they took instead of Justin Jefferson has just 26 catches for 208 yards this season. Shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, you have a Super Bowl in the NFC title game, and we'll never forget that either. But thank you. Thank you for misidentifying Justin Jefferson. All Vikings fans are very grateful. Fly, Eagles, fly.
It's tough with the Eagles because their fans are the worst in the NFL. They are just the most vile, awful people. But they did smoke the Vikings in the NFC Championship game.
I would take being bad right now for that title.
And they're not even bad. They're 6-7.
Yeah, they can.
But I mean,
they have the same record as the Vikings.
Yeah, but I mean,
Gardner Minshew, man.
The Vikings aren't good. But if you went back in time and said you're going to pass up a great player like Jefferson, you're going to make lots of mistakes. Your coach is going to be fired within the next 2.5 years. But you get a Lombardi trophy, I'd be like, okay, I'll take Lombardi trophy.
Yeah. Unless they take away your red zone channel. In that case,
well, no one's touching my red zone. No one's going to touch my red zone channel. I will go full Bronson.
What's a half Bronson?
Flesh wound.
Okay.
Death is
just
full,
slice your arm.
Death is the full Bronson.
Okay.
All right.
Judd, who gets it? Who doesn't?
I'm going to, for the first time, introduce a spin-off to this entire thing, and call it "Who Better Get It." Who better get it?
Who should get it? Okay.
I like better get it though. It's more fun. It's more hip. It's more trendy. I feel like the kids will really gravitate towards. Sports Dad tells you who better get it. That's going to be the Minnesota Vikings on December 26th, day after Christmas, when they play the Los Angeles Rams and Aaron Donald. I'm not sure if you gentlemen partook in watching that entire game last night. And I know this won't be the first time that the Vikings face Donald.
I did watch the whole game, yes.
But my God. And before you tell me, settle down, they've stopped some guy, Chandler Jones. Okay. Chandler Jones lines up quite a bit outside, and then I believe occasionally inside. But Donald is a beast from the inside. And let me remind you, even best case right now, the Vikings' interior line appears to be Cleveland at left guard, Bradbury at center, and Cole at right guard. And you know what? They've done a decent job. But this is Aaron Donald. You better get it. Dude. You better get it, or I have serious concerns about the health of Kirk, and it has nothing to do with COVID.
I'll give you a little nugget here. That I don't know if this might be Nerd Stat of the Week with Booney today on Purple Daily. It might be part of the state of the offense, but I was doing some Kirk Cousins under pressure digging here, and he's, I mean, spoiler alert, he's really bad under pressure. And he was 0 for 11 against pressure against the Steelers last week with 2 interceptions. It was his worst game against pressure. So Kyler Murray was running for his life a lot last night in that game, largely because of Aaron Donald. Kyler Murray, though, against pressure this season, leads the NFL with 9.5 yards per attempt.
Yep.
So when he's pressured, because he's so mobile, I mean, he's a freaking joystick, and you watched that game last night, and he's just like finding ways to keep plays alive. He still completes 60% of his passes and 9.5 yards per attempt, number 1 in the NFL. Cousins is 27th in the NFL in yards per attempt, about half of that number when he faces pressure. So, I mean, there's 2 ways to look at it. Either Cousins just needs to get better against pressure, which is part of it, but the offensive line, especially against an Aaron Donald in a couple weeks, guys, you got to find a way. You got to find a way, because Kirk's not just going to magically go like 9 for 11 with Aaron Donald in his face. Like you got to find some sort of way to prevent that from happening. All right, I got one more for you guys here. We touched on this a little bit with Patrick Royce on the Rap with Royce episode, but I got to give another shout out to Ben Johnson, the Gopher basketball head coach, who gets it. So get this: so the Gophers are 8-1 with 2 like good road resume building wins on their schedule so far. They're playing a 6, sometimes 7-man rotation, which I don't think is sustainable. But of those guys who play, their best player was playing at George Washington University last year. The rest of their rotation, here's where these guys were playing last year: College of Charleston, Lafayette University of the Patriot League, New Hampshire University, William and Mary, and Stephen F. Austin. Eric Curry, who has been a Gopher for like 9 years, it feels like, has suffered multiple season-ending leg injuries during his career as a Gopher. He's playing 30 minutes per game.
I shouldn't laugh, but
in a critical role.
Yes.
Like these guys, and who knows, they might rattle off 6 straight losses in the Big Ten or something, but they fight, they are scrappy, they are blue-collar. I think this team sort of fits the identity of what Minnesota basketball should feel like, right? It's just a bunch of dudes who are kind of underdogs, you know? It feels a little bit more like Wisconsin basketball, where like there's not really a star, but they're cohesive and they play defense and they fight.
Including the guard, the blonde guard, who looks like the kid from here who plays for
Not
the
me.
Badgers. Who?
Not me.
Is it? I don't even know. Honestly, God, like I've watched 2 games. I don't even know all their names to this point. So, yeah. I mean, well, Wisconsin, for the last few years of Pitino's run, Wisconsin had like twice as many Minnesota-rooted players as Minnesota. Minnesota only had like 3 Minnesota high school players on their entire roster in Patino's last year.
Yep.
So, and I get that you're not going to get the Tyus and Trey Jones types if those guys are going to go to Duke, and Chet Holmgren's going to go to Gonzaga because that's just an easy ticket to go play in the Final Four and play in the NBA. But there's good 3-star players. There's guys like McKinley Wright that would have loved to play at Minnesota and would have been star players. So finding ways, and by the way, some of these guys, originally played high school basketball in Minnesota and they're coming back here. So I don't know. It's just kind of fascinating to me that he's brought this hodgepodge group of dudes that played,
I'm telling you,
subdivision basketball and
transfer
they're
portal,
beating
baby.
Michigan on the road.
Transfer portal. That's the key now. I don't want some
It's the key to life.
18-year-old punk.
Yeah.
I don't want some 18-year-old kid. I don't need that crap. He's immature. I want a grown man. I want to bring in as many grown-ups as I possibly can, and I don't care if I have to turn it over every year.
I think there is a lot to be taken for life advice. I think we need like a relationship transfer portal instead of saying, I want a divorce or I'm going to break up with you. I think if you just said, I'm going to enter the transfer portal and open up my recruitment, it's a little bit of a softer way of delivering the
portal
ball.
of life. This is a genius idea.
I'm not
know
quitting
what?
my job. I'm entering the transfer portal.
I might want a divorce, but not right now. So I'm going to go into the transfer portal, see
just
what
kinda see,
happens.
yeah.
See what happens. Take the
I might still
temperature.
play for you or come
Take-
back and be married.
Take the temperature and then come back and like, you know what, honey? I've dropped out. I'm out of the portal. Nothing really happened. My name bounced around. There were some discussions.
Some text threads,
Nothing really took place. Some DMs. But I'm back. I'm back now. Come on, let's make this work.
Oh, man,
The
it's
transfer portal of
for
life.
Yeah.
I think you're on to something very, very solid
Let's do
here.
it. Let's build the website.
Transfer portal. Who's in the transfer portal? Put your
Could be-
name in.
Can be a little side business for the three of us.